Imagine being accused of stealing something you never took, then being chased for more than 100 yards and being shot in the back while running away trying to escape harm. Now imagine standing in court 3 years later, listening as the defense argues that the person who was shot in the back as he was trying to escape harm was actually the one who posed the deadly threat. That is the case of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton. On the evening of May 28, 2023, families across Columbia, South Carolina, were enjoying what seemed like an ordinary Memorial Day weekend. Within the next few minutes, a 14-year-old boy would lose his life. A convenience store owner would be arrested for murder. But to understand how it reached that point, we have to start with the teenager at the center of it all. His name was Cyrus Carmack-Belton. He was only 14 years old. His family described him as energetic, funny, and full of life. His mother, Nicole Carmack, would later tell reporters that her son was often misunderstood. As public debate grew around the case, she repeatedly reminded people that Cyrus wasn't the image some tried to paint after his death. He was not a thug, she said. He was a 14-year-old boy trying to find his way. For his family, he was still a child with dreams that would never have the chance to become reality. Meanwhile, just a few miles away, another family was ending what had likely felt like an ordinary workday. The Express Mart Shell station had become a familiar stop for local residents. Owned by Chike Rick Chow, the convenience store served customers throughout the neighborhood. Working alongside him that evening was his son, Andy Chow. Neither family could have imagined that, within minutes, their lives would become permanently connected. As the sun began to set, Cyrus arrived at the Shell station. Surveillance cameras positioned inside the store quietly recorded everything that happened next. The video would later become one of the most important pieces of evidence presented during the murder trial. According to investigators and the surveillance footage, Cyrus walked through the store like any other customer. At one point, he picked up 4 bottles of water. For a brief moment, nothing appeared unusual. But before leaving the store, Cyrus placed every bottle back where he had found it. He then walked out empty-handed. The surveillance footage would later confirm that he left without taking the water. But outside the frame, something else was unfolding. Rick Chow and his son believed Cyrus had shoplifted. Instead of calling law enforcement and allowing officers to investigate, the situation escalated. According to evidence presented during trial, Rick Chow armed himself with a handgun. His son also left the store. Together, they began pursuing the teenager down the street. At first, Cyrus kept moving away from the store. Then the pursuit continued. The distance between the gas station and the place where everything ended stretched for more than 100 yards. As Cyrus ran, everything changed. During the chase, Cyrus had a handgun in his possession which fell out of his pocket when he fell during the chase. That fact was not disputed during the trial. What was disputed was how that gun was used. According to the defense, Cyrus pulled out the firearm and pointed it at Andy Chow. They argued that Rick Chow believed his son's life was in immediate danger and fired a single shot to protect him. The prosecution told the jury a very different story. They argued that Cyrus never threatened either man with the gun. Instead, they said the firearm fell from his pocket while he was running and that there was no evidence he pointed it at anyone before he was shot. Those conflicting accounts became the central question of the entire trial. What is undisputed is how the encounter ended. A single gunshot struck Cyrus in the back. The 14-year-old collapsed in the roadway. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but despite their efforts, Cyrus Carmack-Belton died from his injuries. News of the shooting spread quickly across Columbia. At first, many people believed it was another robbery gone wrong. But as investigators reviewed surveillance footage from inside the store, a crucial fact emerged. Cyrus had not stolen the water. The video showed him placing the bottles back before walking out empty-handed. That discovery immediately shifted the focus of the investigation. Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott publicly addressed the case, making it clear that even if shoplifting had occurred, it would not justify using deadly force. Peaceful vigils turned into larger demonstrations. Many community members said the shooting reflected something much bigger than a single tragic encounter. They believed Cyrus had been racially profiled from the moment he entered the store.
To answer the question how I'm feeling everything. Every possible thing you can think of. All my friends with children, I know that their heart ached after that verdict. And it's not just the black parents. Everyone feels that.
It just didn't make sense to me because there was a lot of evidence.
The gas station itself became a symbol of the community's anger. Messages such as "R.I.P. King Cyrus" were spray-painted on the property, and the business eventually closed. According to prosecutors, once Cyrus left the store, the situation should have ended there. Instead, they argued, Rick Chow armed himself, left the safety of his business, and chased a 14-year-old boy down the street. The prosecution acknowledged that Cyrus had a handgun in his possession that evening, but they argued there was no credible evidence that he pointed it at Rick Chow or Andy Chow. Instead, prosecutors told jurors the gun fell from Cyrus's pocket while he was running. They maintained that Cyrus was trying to escape, not attack anyone, and reminded the jury that he was ultimately shot in the back. The defense claimed that Cyrus pulled out a handgun and pointed it at Andy Chow. They argued that Rick Chow believed his son's life was in immediate danger and reacted instantly to stop what he believed was an imminent deadly threat. Under South Carolina's self-defense laws, the defense argued, Rick Chow's actions were legally justified. As witnesses took the stand, jurors were asked to piece together a fast-moving confrontation that lasted only moments but carried life-changing consequences. On June 1, 2026, the courtroom fell silent as the jury returned. One by one, the verdict was read. Not guilty. Rick Chow was acquitted of murder. After spending roughly 3 years in jail awaiting trial, he would soon be released.
Indictment number 2023 GS 40-07440. State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chike Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chike Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Fine number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Now reporting the official verdict and the verdict of the entire jury. Ms. Manuel, thank you. Madam Forelady and ladies.
For the Chow family, the verdict marked the end of a criminal case. For the Carmack-Belton family, it marked the beginning of a different kind of heartbreak. Nicole Carmack sat devastated as the decision was announced. The acquittal reignited a national conversation about racial profiling, self-defense laws, and the burden of proof in criminal trials. For Cyrus's family, no court ruling could change one undeniable fact. A 14-year-old boy who entered a convenience store on a warm May evening never made it home. The death of Cyrus Carmack-Belton remains one of South Carolina's most debated cases in recent years. If you enjoy in-depth true crime documentaries that focus on verified evidence, courtroom testimony, and the full story behind the headlines, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an investigation. If you find this documentary informative, please leave a like. It helps us continue producing carefully researched cases like this one. And after you've watched the entire video, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Based on the evidence presented during the investigation and at trial, what do you think happened during those final moments, and why do you think the jury reached its decision?